Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials. Good morning, it's 7 o'clock on Saturday the 5th of February. Just making my way down to the land, and as always, not quite sure what we're going to get done today, but let's find out. Well, here we are down on the land. It's a very cold morning this morning. Daylight is breaking over the trees there. Had quite a bit of rain as well this last couple of days, so it's a little bit wet underfoot. But we'll try not to let that stop us from making some progress this morning. Quite a few little bits and pieces I wanted to do. I noticed when I popped down during the week to sort the chickens out. You remember the fruit trees I planted last year? Look at this. I'm assuming it's rabbits, but I don't really know. Now, I filled this in twice this week, but look at that. They got a hole there. And same again on this one. Now that one's still filled in, so they've not dug that up between Thursday and now. Yeah, I don't know what the attraction is with these trees. They are doing it elsewhere on the field as well. As I look around, I can see lots of little scrapings. There's a few more here. Not quite sure what they're after, really. Anyway, I'll fill that in, but I'm going to need to put the camera down to do that. So I'll get myself opened up and sort the chickens out. Well, first things first, as usual, sort the chickens out. The little red one just can't resist. As soon as it gets to the end of the black ones, she turns her nose up in disgust. So she's looking now thinking, where's the black ones? They are funny. They are funny. Alright, we've got things to do today, so let's get cracked on. I've got the diesel heater warming the cabin up this morning, rather than lighting a fire. I just like to give it a run now and again, just to make sure it's working as it should be. The other red one's sneaking across, look. Right, you're on your own, chickens. I need to go and check the eggs and get them in the cabin, and of course get the coffee on. Alright, not expecting a huge amount in here because I did clean out on Thursday. It's bloody dark. Lots of mess to sort out. We've got one in there, which is unusual. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in there, and one in here. Bumper crop. It looks like they've started ramping up production again. So can't complain at that. It's not very cold in here, actually. The chickens seem to maintain a fairly regular temperature in here. If it's really crappy weather outside, then they'll go outside all day. They'll stop inside all day, but if it's not too bad, they spend most of the time outside. Look at all this mess. Dear. Loads of mess to clean up. I'll sort the feed and water out in a minute. I want to get in the cabin and get my coffee on the go. Well, there's always a million little jobs. I keep getting distracted. I've not even had my coffee yet. Sorted the chickens out, and I thought I'd just quickly check this battery box that I pulled out of the polytunnel. I was guessing that the battery was very, very low, which it was. So I pulled out the folding panel, and even at this time of the morning, see if you can see this or not, There is no sun as such, but there we go. It's pumping power into the battery. Just sat here in the garden room, which is very nice. So I'll just leave that now. I'll leave it all day today. It'll automatically go off when the sun goes down or when daylight finishes, and it'll automatically start up again in the morning. Picked up another bottle of gas, nice shiny new bottle. Just trying to keep topped up. Cabbages, they've done really well. Really pleased with those. It's nice to see something growing this early in the year. Anyway, I want to get this coffee down me. I've not even had one yet, and as usual, time is flying by. Well, good morning. It's the weekend, and it's a bit of a cool morning this morning. It's nice to get my coffee. How's things wherever you are, whatever you're doing? I hope you're staying safe and well and enjoying your weekend. We've had really weird weather this week. It's been cold. We had those quite severe storms last weekend that lasted all the way pretty much into Tuesday. There was just one after another came through. I'll have a little walk around later on and just see what branches have come down, because there definitely have been some. I've passed loads of trees down as I've been driving backwards and forwards this week. But this morning there is a wind, not a huge wind, but it's a cold wind. Weather forecasters keep telling us that snow's coming. It was forecast for yesterday, but we've not seen any yet, so that's good. I've just been sorting the chickens out. I've got to clean out the coop later. I got distracted. I brought down another gas bottle from the car, and I refilled the can of diesel that I emptied into the diesel heater last weekend, so that's full now. And then got distracted again with the battery box to charge that up. So as usual, lots of little jobs. And I have loads more. I'll be popping some greenery in for the chickens because it is the weekend. But the main thing today really is following up from last week, because the solenoid for the little red tractor arrived. I was getting a bit panicky. It didn't arrive until Thursday. I was beginning to think it wouldn't come, but it has. It's here. Look at that, how nice and shiny and bright is that. So that's going to go on today. Now fingers crossed this is the problem, and once I put this on I'll be able to fire up the tractor. If not, then that's a little bit more ominous. But I don't honestly know what else it could be, because I checked the starter, that seemed fine. Checked the cables, they seemed fine. Battery was topped up, so I don't know. Hopefully this is it, and once I get that on, she'll fire up. But we shall see. So that's the main thing today. I really do want to get that done, so that little red tractor is back up and running again, because it won't be that long before we're starting our first cut of the grass, I feel fairly sure. Anyway, what's going on in the big wide world? Has anybody noticed that COVID has disappeared? As if by magic. All our restrictions got dumped about 2 weeks ago now. And usually there's every single day, every hour of every day on the news, they're pumping out the COVID message. They did try with this new variant called BA2, but then we got overtaken by events. There was some other far more deadly dangerous things to distract us from the real issues that we've got. So yeah, COVID disappeared. We had the Winter Olympics start up in China at the weekend, and we also had Chinese New Year. So lots of China in the news, but only very, very briefly. The New Year and the Olympics made not that much of the news. The big news has all been about Ukraine. Kind of unsurprising, I guess. But I've noticed a reoccurrence of a trend that we've seen before. Now, cast your minds back, if you will. Let me... Where is my tinfoil hat? Ah, there it is. There it is. Cast your minds back, if you will, to Iraq. And the excuse for going into Iraq, if you remember, was that Saddam has got these weapons of mass destruction. Well, surprise, surprise, it turned out to be complete bull, and he didn't have. But that was quickly forgotten because the events overtook us and the war went ahead, and the rest is history. But then also, if you remember, we didn't just stop with Afghanistan and Iraq, we as in Western governments. We kept pushing on, and we went into Libya, and there was an excuse about we had to get rid of Gaddafi because he's oppressing his people, and loads of fake news stories to justify why we were going in. And then, of course, not content with Libya, let's move along the coast a little bit, and Bashar al-Assad. Well, the chemical weapon thing cropped up again as an excuse to get boots on the ground there. Do you remember that he was accused of gassing his own people? And Western governments, particularly the UK, we had a vote in Parliament to actually put troops in and go to war, same as in Iraq. And the British people said, actually, no, we're not doing that. And then chaos ensued. As Western governments all suddenly found out that the population weren't prepared to accept another Iraq in Syria. So we had lots of fake news stories circulating. This humanitarian organisation called White Helmets popped up, and suddenly it was in the media every single day. Pictures of these humanitarians with their white plastic helmets running around saving all these babies and kids and old ladies out of bombed buildings. And then the story of the chemical weapons that Bashar al-Assad was using on his people. There's pictures of these white helmet guys in respirators plucking bodies out and hosing people down to wash the chemicals off them. And surprise, surprise, it turned out that that was actually a made-up story, and that there was a propaganda wing. Now, the real conspiracy theory, I guess, is who created that. But let's not go there. Let's stick with the main theme of the propaganda. And lots of research was done by lots of different reporters, and it turns out that these white helmet people were just fake. They were getting paid loads of money to run around and make propaganda videos to try and keep up the pressure for Western governments to be able to just do what they like in terms of bombing the country and trying to get rid of Bashar al-Assad. So fast forward to where we are today. And the media for the last probably about 4 months now has been building up and building up and building up to armed intervention. Western governments have been saber-rattling and saying, no, we're going to send troops in, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. They've definitely been providing weapons. But all of a sudden, in the media over the last few days, a story has appeared that the Russians were planning to set up a false flag. In other words, they were going to set up a fake crisis of some description. And the story goes that they were going to show, have actors playing out the role, same as the white helmets in Syria, going into all of these bombed out buildings and dragging bodies out and bringing casualties out and giving first aid treatment, saying that essentially the Ukrainians had done some kind of atrocity on the Russian-speaking people in eastern Ukraine, and off the back of that they would use that then as their excuse to actually invade. So the West put out this story saying that that's what was going to happen as a bit of a counter bluff, saying, well, this is what they're planning to do as a way of stopping Russia invading, saying that, well, if you invade now, it's because you've made up this fake news story. So there's a whole host of propaganda circulating around the Ukraine right now. But generally the consensus is that actually Russia is not going to be invading. And this has all just been fake. I don't know. What do you think? They're certainly not in there. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see now. So yeah, fake news, it's everywhere. And it's difficult to know who to trust and what to trust when you see all of this stuff on the news media. But me personally, I kind of err on the side of caution. If my government is running around pointing at this big drama crisis unfolding over there, I tend to ignore that as fake news, and I desperately start looking over here to see what's really going on. And humbly I would suggest that you did the same and not buy into the media propaganda. Anyway, what else is going on? Turkey, which you might remember from previous videos, the president there has completely destroyed his economy and his country. And on the theme of fake news and propaganda, he's desperately looking for somebody to blame and an excuse to distract his people from the disaster that he's created in his economy. So roll out the boogeyman. He's previously been big friends with Russia. He is a guy of, when it suits, he'll be friends with anybody. And in the past it suited him to be friends with Russia to try and push Western countries to support Turkey. And lo and behold, he's done exactly the same again now over Ukraine. So he's suddenly found himself to be friend of the West, turned his back on Russia, and is offering Turkish gas to Europe. I don't think he can quite substitute the gas that comes from Russia, but hey, it's a good story for him and it's a good distraction technique. Putin and the Chinese leader, I always have trouble with his name, so I won't even bother trying. I think it's Xi Jinping, I think. They've done a little press conference. They're all loved up and they're banding together to combat the perceived oppression from Western governments. Now that is a story worth looking at. I'd be careful about the propaganda bit again, because it's pitting Russia and China against the West in the Western media, and vice versa. The Russian media is pitting the West against Russia and saying, oh, it's all their fault. Irrespective of who is at fault, the big thing to remember is that both China and Russia are essentially superpowers. Western governments try to convince you that they're not, and that the West is superior in terms of strength of economy and military power. But that's again fake news. Both the militaries of China and Russia are extremely capable, extremely well equipped, and actually far bigger than Western governments' military. They have all the shiny new toys. In fact, there was an article by an American general saying that he was actually really concerned because it seemed that over the last 5 to 10 years, Russian technology had become far superior in terms of things like missiles to the Western technology. And the big danger is that all of this saber rattling pisses people off enough that they actually do start some kind of armed conflict somewhere. So be careful what you wish for, Western governments. You might just get bitten on the arse. Personally, I don't think it will be military. I have mentioned in previous videos that you should be careful in thinking about other things. Certainly in case of China, think about supply chain. All they have to do is turn the factories off for a few weeks and we suffer in the West. We already have issues with supply chain. Were China to really spit their dummies out and turn the taps off for a couple of weeks, that would cause huge problems. Similarly, gas from Russia to Europe, if they turned the taps off, again, it's winter, that would cause massive chaos and even bigger price hikes than we've seen over recent weeks and months. But both countries are quite adept at cyber warfare, and cyber is something I've mentioned before. There are lots of people, groups, organisations out there in cyberspace that make a living out of cyber attacks. We've seen quite a lot. We've seen some quite big ones in America with the Colonial Pipeline being shut down, the supply chain for meat processing plants being shut down through cyber hacks. Here in the UK, we've seen similar things, and they're still going on. In the past week alone, we've seen cyber attacks on a food production company called KP, who make peanuts and crisps and other kinds of snacks. They had a ransomware attack this last week, and their supply chain will now be disrupted until March. Big news organisation, News Corp, they've had a cyber attack. And a crypto organisation called Wormhole, or Wormbridge, can't remember now, I think it's called Wormhole. They had over $300 million go missing as a result of a cyber attack. So cyber attack, as we are more and more technology dependent, is something that you do need to think about. It doesn't have to be Russia or China trying to get some payback, political payback, around the back door via cyber attacks. Just common criminals. They do cyber attacks to try and earn money. They'll hack an organisation, steal their files or lock down their system and say, give us $10 million and we'll give you your files back. And just idiots, for want of a better description, these little nerdy geeks that sit in mum's basement playing computer games all day, they get a kick out of trying to disrupt another organisation's IT network. So it doesn't have to be a political or military strategy when it comes to cyber attack. It can just be crime, or it can just be some idiot trying to prove how clever he is. The outcome, though, is the thing to worry about. What happens as a result of these? And whether it's food supply chain, whether it's mains grid utilities, whether it's the banking system, the healthcare system, all of these things can be impacted instantly through cyber attack. Your ATM machine can be working fine one minute, not working the next. Same with the food supply chain, same with the hospitals, the power grid, the water grid. So cyber is certainly a thing as we move forward, one of the more pressing things that should be on our mind. Now, I'm not saying don't live without technology, because technology is great, but what I am saying is have a backup ready in case the mains grid or the technology you depend on goes down. So common things that you've seen me use in my videos time and time again. Alternative cooking and heating sources, wood burning stoves, there's a gas fire off camera that you can't see, the diesel heater, my gas hob, my solar power, my rainwater harvesting, my 12 volts off-grid Wi-Fi in the cabin. It's all doable to some degree or other, and you don't have to go out and spend thousands on the latest system. You can, with a little bit of time and patience, create your own small-scale alternatives to all of the utilities and technology that you depend on day by day. So in 2022, if you do nothing else, I would encourage you to explore what alternatives are available. I did say in the previous video, if there's a specific system that you want me to look at and to do a video on, I have done them before if you scroll back through the video library, but if there's something that you want me to update or do a new video on, off-grid power, off-grid water, off-grid cooking and heating, whatever it is, drop me a little comment. If I get enough comments in the comment section, then I will do a dedicated video on whatever that subject happens to be. Anyway, that's turned into a bit of a lengthier cabin chat than I thought it was. I'm going to get this coffee down me. I might make another one because this one's, as usual, gone cold. But I do need to get cracking and pull the tractor out and start reassembling with the new solenoid, and fingers crossed that's it. If not, you might see a bit of swearing later as I try and do some more diagnosis to find out what it is that's gone wrong, but fingers crossed it is the solenoid. A few other bits and pieces I want to do. I want to take a look at some seed trays, following on from what I was doing last week. I also need to tidy up the wood pile. It got wrecked in the wind, as did the little archway trellis in the raised bed area. So lots of little fiddly jobs, but wherever I am doing, I'll keep you posted as we go through the video. Well, that's the little red tractor pulled out. Just need to dismantle it all, and hopefully we'll get some fault finding done. With a bit of luck, that solenoid will be the problem, and we'll soon have it back up and running. That noise you can hear is the diesel heater. That's the exhaust comes out behind the tractor garage. I just popped it back on again to warm the cabin back up after the cabin chat. Right, let's get some tools and we'll see what happens. First things first, let's check the battery out, make sure that that is still okay. It's been stood here for a week. If you can see that or not, but 12.5 volts on there, so that's good. So we know that works. I've got the old solenoid and the new solenoid. That's the old one. Slight difference in terms of mounting, but hopefully I'll not have any big issues. I might need to drill out another hole for mounting that, but we'll see shortly. Right, that's the new solenoid on. Luckily it fitted, the base plate fitted over the existing holes, so I didn't have to drill any of those out, so that's good. Battery's back on. Just bobbed a little bit of WD-40 on the terminals just to make sure they're okay, stop the rust. So let's have a little look and see what happens now when we try and start it. Well, that's excellent news. All that remains now is to put all the various covers back on, which is not a 2-minute job because I've got to work it around the seat and the gear lever. It was a pig to get off, so I'm assuming it's going to be equally a pig to put back on again, but I don't care because Little Red Tractor's back up and running again. Excellent. I'll let her run for a few minutes while I go and warm up, and then I'll turn her off and reassemble the bodywork. Well, it wouldn't be the weekend without the greenery for the chickens. I'm just feeding these while the tractor's warming through, as usual. The little red ones. Oh, look at this, I've got both of them coming. I wonder how long it is before one chases the other one away. She's not happy, is she? Here, what's this? Bit of peacekeeping there. I'm like United Nations. Come on, you, don't try and push her out of that on the ground as well. Good result with the tractor. I'm pleased it was that solenoid. I didn't want it to be the starter motor or, God forbid, the engine. So yeah, bit of a laborious task stripping it all down, but worth it. Just got to put it all back together again now. That casing is a pig to get on. Right, I'll leave these to it. They can enjoy the greenery while I might be tempted to put a coffee on, warm my fingers up while that tractor's running. Tractor's had a little bit of a run, so I'm ready to put the covering back on. I just thought I may as well give the generator a run as well. Try and keep on top of all these little maintenance type jobs. If you don't check it and use it, you lose it. That's my gas cylinders in the back. I've got another one inside the cabin in a small gas heater, so no shortage of gas. Fuels in the storage shed, no shortage of that either. So I'll let that run for 5 minutes and I can set about reassembling the casing for the tractor body. Well, that's the tractor reassembled. All the covers are on, so that can go away now. I'm really pleased I got that done. I was a bit worried I was going to get rained on, but it's held off, thankfully. Bloody cold on the fingers, but at least it's not raining. So I think I'll lock this up and then we'll have a little look in the polytunnel. A very quick look. Well, just taking a quick look in the polytunnel. I'm going to take up the rest of these carrots, then that's them done, and I'll probably plant a couple of buckets. But look at this. Can you see that on the camera? Something's been in, chewing, literally into the bucket. Let me pull that out and you can see a little bit better. Can you see that? We've actually been eating them in the buckets. So, I don't think I'm going to end up with many. I think most of these are going to go for the chickens. It tells you why it's necessary to rodent-proof everything, which clearly I haven't. Not the polytunnel anyway. Not quite sure how they're getting in, because there's only really the side flaps where they could get in, and I can't see them leaping up through there, but clearly something's getting in somehow. Chickens are going to love this. They're going to have a field day. Look, they've chewed the top completely off. Buggers. Oh well, it's all lessons learned. They're almost all half carrots. Well, they are in this bucket anyway. Now there's a few for me. Not many though. Yeah, the chickens will enjoy them. Similar story here. I don't know if you can see, but they've been chewing again in this one. Buggers. They've not managed to get as many in this one. Look at this. Hey? How's that for a production? Hey? Clearly some of them will go for the chickens because they're a bit too small, but there'll be a few left for me still. But you see, it doesn't really matter where you are in terms of how much spare land you have for your garden. There is absolutely no reason why you can't do what I'm doing with these, even in a small garden, balcony, whatever. You've still got enough space to line up a few rows of pots and get a lot of carrots and potatoes. Chickens are going to love that. Right, last one, similar story. It's been chewed. But still not bad. Lots and lots and lots of carrots in here. Look at all this. It's a lot. Awful lot. Chickens will enjoy. Right, that's that done. I'll tidy up. I'll show you where I've got later because I'm going to plant some seed now. I won't do too many, maybe a couple of buckets just to get me started and get me into the habit of planting again after the long winter break. Right. That's for the chickens, that's for me. Still not a bad harvest, I'm not complaining. Right, planting time. I'll only do a couple of buckets of these, I won't do many right now, just still a little bit early. And I'm guessing we're going to have some frost. So I'm just going to empty that packet of seed. That's that one done. Sprinkle these around. We'll thin those out later. And this is a new packet. Aeroplane flying over. Different variety, this one. I guess we'll see in due course which is the better variety. See which one comes through first. Now, do I do another bucket? No. I'm nervous that we might get a frost come. Okay. I have sweet potatoes at home, and either when I get home this afternoon or tomorrow morning I'm going to start getting those ready and start popping them into water to grow some slips. So that's my 2 buckets of carrots. I'll just get some soil popped on top of there, and I'm tempted to put them in the garden room. I don't know. I don't want them getting dug up. Just filling some water containers for the polytunnel, and that's what we got. That's for me, and probably double the amount or triple the amount for the chickens, so I'll go give them that. I'm sure they'll be very happy. While those water containers are filling up, I just thought I'd show you. Fig tree is budding. You can see that or not, if it'll focus. Yeah. And the blueberry also, lots of buds on there. Even this one, hard to see on this one. There you go. So there is life. Well, the chickens are very happily pecking away at the carrots, so while they're busy doing that, one last job for me: clean out the coop and put some more fresh sawdust down. Messy job, but it's got to be done. Right. Mess. Oh, hello. Got an egg. It's a Billy bonus. And another egg. What's another bonus? Wasn't expecting that. Food and water's fine. Right, let me put those out the way and we'll start tackling this mess. Well, there we go. Nice and clean and tidy. Nest box is all done out as well. So, ready for the first customer. Come on, girls, in you come. Just spreading this out. In the compost bins. This is start off base, ready for covering up with grass at some point. I'm debating about putting a roof on this. Doesn't have to be anything exotic, just to try and reduce the amount of water when I do start putting grass on, because the grass does get very wet and it holds it, which makes it difficult to break down. I don't know, we'll see. Chickens are happy, so I'm happy. Just need to get tidied up now, get everything put away, and it'll be home time. Well, that's everything put away and locked up. Cold day today, but thankfully not too much of a wind and only a light spit of rain here and there, so it's been productive. I've been able to get outside and get stuff done. I did take a look at the polytunnel. You can probably see here and here where the frames have broken through the outer liner of the polytunnel. I also noticed that, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not on here, just somewhere around about there the zips started coming off as well, so this is pretty much buggered. So the big question is what to do. I did check, I have got some spare frame tubes, and a couple of them would have gone on that roof ridge and replaced the ones that were broken, but in all honesty it's been patched up that many times, I think it's time to just call it a day. The burning question is, do I get another one and swap it out for a new one, or do I go without the polytunnel? Burning question. You'll have to let me know what you think in the comment section. Anyway, back to the car, get off home, get a shower, get something to eat. I'm starving. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, hope you're staying safe and well, enjoying your weekend, and I'll catch up with you in the next video. Well, that's it for this video. I hope there was something in there that was of interest to you. If you did like the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. What do you think to all of the fake news and false flag operations that have been going on over the last few years? Do you think the same as me, that we've been trying to do another one with Ukraine? What about planting? Are you starting to plant? If you are, what are you planting? Let everybody know in the comment section below. And what about the polytunnel? Should I replace it or should I not? Let me know what you think. But for now, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.